gone away from all of our outbound marketing in pursuit of more inbound marketing, and most of that with you. So that
Yeah.
is what we're doing now.
You could shed light a little bit on how you were marketing your business and working with those sellers before we started working together.
So 3.5 years in this business. For the first basically 3 years of it, most of our marketing, almost all of our marketing was outbound. It was data driven, followed by outbound pursuits. So texting and calling mostly, and very little advertising, very little inbound marketing. So this was really our first foray into advertising. So we've been, running these ads, driving inbound traffic. The conversations are so different.
Mhm.
Instead, what we don't hear anymore is like, you called me, right?
Mhm.
Because we get on the phone with people, we're like, hey, are you interested in selling your house? People are like, yeah, I'd be interested in selling my house. And then you're like, okay, what would you like for the house? And then they're like, you called me, you tell me what you're going to pay for the house. And you're like, well, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's difficult to overcome in conversation. But when they call you or they come to you and they say, please make me an offer on my house, or I'd like to sell my property, then when you ask questions and you are trying to understand the situation so that you can solve it, and provide the service, provide the value, then people are like, yeah, okay, here's the information. I'm a good prospect. I'm open to working with you. I'm not working against you. From the very beginning, it's so different. It comes down to, we talk a lot about leverage. Comes down to that. You came to us. If you want our services, you got to answer our questions. You got to enter into our process. It is immensely different and immensely better. We're converting at a much higher rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's great. And that's so different when someone raises their hand and asks you, right? So you're having totally different
So different. So
conversations.
different.
Some of the work we've been doing together is I launched some targeted ad campaigns on Facebook. Maybe you could tell me more about how this approach impacted your business and this way of marketing.
Couple things. It's been, and we're still in the middle of it, of course, and this is always a work in progress. But we had, because of all the outbound pursuit, it made for us for a really heavy operation.
Mm.
We have been able to become much more efficient, and because of the lesser quality of the leads we were getting, we would get tons of leads, and it was too many. It created the need to have a bunch of people to filter those leads down into quality leads or into various levels of quality. Now everything starts at a higher level of quality. So we've
Mm.
cut off all the stuff at the top, all the crap. And we were at a point at times, and depending on what your lead source is, but like we were at a point in texting where it was like for every 100 leads, we could get a contract. Cold calling was maybe half that. For every 50 leads, we could get a contract. We're looking down the barrel of 6 to 12, maybe 6 to 13 leads to a contract now. That
Wow.
is, from texting, that's 88 people we don't have to talk to get to. So that's people on my team I don't have to have. So it makes for a more efficient operation, a leaner operation. It has made for a simpler business, which is something I'm always striving to have.
I think that's interesting too when you're talking about operational costs, because like a lot of what I hear about cold calling is it's a great way to get started. Like it doesn't cost as much to get into.
Yeah.
So maybe you being an investor, maybe you can kind of speak to that. Like, how did that change your operational cost to like at what point did it make sense where inbound was the right choice, more cost effective?
I think that on its face, and I think as a less experienced investor, a less experienced entrepreneur, on its face, I'm looking at these leads and I'm like, these leads are awesome. They're cheap,
Mm.
right? These leads are cheap. They're awesome. I can get $5 a lead. I can get $15 a lead. And we're talking about texting and cold calling. And this, again, where we came from. But if you tack on all the operational burden of stewarding those leads, you really need to apply that to that cost per lead to see that it's, first of all, more expensive than
Mm.
you think on its face. And second of all, cost per lead is really a more elementary metric in what we're trying to get at, which is ROAS. We really, cost per lead on his face is cool, right? But ROAS, what's my return on ad spend? And if it's there, I want to spend more.
Yeah,
If I'm
totally.
getting $1,000 back for every 100 I'm spending, how many times can I spend 100?
Yeah,
Right?
because it's the deals you're closing and the less time you're spending. 100 people you're talking to versus 6 is a huge difference, yeah.
It feels different inside the business. It
Mhm.
because we're obviously working on creating more volume, but with the focus being so much more on quality than on quantity, it's like we're not running around with our hair on fire anymore, trying to keep up with all these bad leads, bad leads, waste of time leads. And now when a lead comes in, everybody we have time to slow down, take it seriously, really fully take care of it, underwrite, go through the whole process with that person and really care for that lead because it warrants our care, because it's somebody who came to us. And again, we
Mm,
didn't come to them. When you go to them, when you start and you say, "Hey, are you interested in selling your house?" It changes the dynamic from the very, very beginning of it.
yeah,
It's
totally.
much tougher. It's much lower conversions. Inbound has been a great switch for us.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see how that's changed your business.
A hand raiser in the past was like, "Hey, was anybody who expressed any interest towards our product, which is we buy your house, I can buy your house, right?" So
Mhm.
anybody who expressed even the tiniest interest, "Hey, would you be interested in selling your property?" Yes, that's a lead,
Mm,
right? And then we had to take that and qualify it to, "I want to sell on this timeline. I want this much. My condition on my property is this. I'm selling because of these reasons, and these are the others, and da 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 da." And so just going from yes, I have a property, and to I'd
mhm,
like to sell my property for a real amount of money and a real offer and close on a real day. Huge gap to close. But now
mm,
people are coming in on forms and they're saying, "I'm selling my property. I want this much for it. Here's the condition." And they're forthcoming right out of the gate.
love it.
And
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's just been better. It's been easier.
That's great. I love to see that. There are a lot of companies out there who are doing lead generation and trying to get you, leads in various different ways. Is there anything specific that made you decide to work with me specifically? Or can you speak a little bit to your experience of like choosing me and doing this type of marketing with me?
I have worked with a lot of people. I've tried to work with a lot of people over the last couple of years in a lot of different things. I've tried to partner with realtors. I've tried to partner with marketing companies. I've tried to partner with everybody for everything. And what I would say of you and of working with you is you're super diligent. You've been super prepared for everything. You're reporting, and I know where we're and I like to be really hands-on. I'm in the middle of everything, obviously, still. And I like to learn it from you as well so that I can, apply that to my future endeavors. And you're reporting. I know where we're at. There's no
Mhm.
question. My questions are addressed. You're on top of it all the time. I don't feel like I don't feel the need to hover or try to tell you you should be doing this or you should be doing that. I trust you to do it, and I trust that you're doing a better job than I would, and then certainly I would be doing. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
so
Thanks for your
I
confidence in me.
you've been very prepared, very diligent, and very on top of things. When there's issues,
Mhm.
maybe whatever, it's fixed within hours, probably I would say, and instead of days, it's been great. The communication's been great, and understanding that you can't look at any one day or any couple days or even any week or couple weeks my confidence is that in the longer term that we will be successful with you and your marketing. And so it's not a straight line to that perfect success necessarily. And so working with you in that capacity has been great.
Would you be willing to share a little bit about the results you've gotten with your marketing? You're obviously investing money into these Facebook ads and working with me. What kind of returns, like, or just in general results have you been getting?
We're at about an 8x. I think we're at an 8x closed already, and that does not include some stuff that will be closing. I think if we theoretically, if we just shut the business off and let everything close out the way it's closed, I think we'd end up at like a 12x. So
And that's from all the stuff under contract, right?
it's the stuff already closed plus the stuff under contract. But
Nice. Okay.
so the leading indicator would be an 8x, but if we once we let it lag, it'll be a 12.
It's been really, really cool to see how, yeah, putting the money in is helping bring more money to you and in the business and all these transactions and conversations you have. It's really awesome. And it speaks to you as well and your team and being able to close those deals. So, yeah.
Yeah, we always said we're going to cut our teeth on the cheaper leads, the harder leads, and converting in the longer cycle, like I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
And feel like we've done that. We've learned how to convert, we've learned how to sell, we've learned how to close, we've learned how to do all that. And then to put these qualities, really high quality leads in front of us is like we're all kind of looking at each other like, wow, like that person was really ready to go on our product,
Awesome.
and
Really
and
love to hear that.
yeah, it's been good.
I'm just curious what advice you would give to other investors considering doing this type of marketing, going more inbound, maybe even possibly working with me. What would you say to them?
I would say, especially if they're not doing inbound and especially if they're not at all happy with the provider they're already using, that they'd be making they're for every second that they're not running it, they're losing money.
Mm, yeah.
Right. For every dollar that they're not spending here, they're not making that 7x, that 8x, that 12x.
Yeah.
And if they're in a worse spot than that, then they should upgrade.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's always great working with you. Yeah, looking forward to seeing where your future goes from 8X or all the different deals you have and lined up for you. This is really cool to see.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.